Hey, what's going on, Patriots? Hey, I stopped off at the gas station the other night to pick me up a box of MGD, and store clerk had the TV going there over the counter. They had that news going on about that mess going on with Russia and Ukraine and everything, and I just kind of mentioned it. I was like, that all that would have been avoided if Trump was president. And he was like, how do you mean? And I said, well, I mean, because Trump knew more about Russia than anybody. If anybody's more suited to deal with that, it'd be him. And he said, why do you think that? And I said, well, for one, he said it. And he said, well, he says a lot of things that don't mean it's true. And I said, well, let me tell you something. All the way back in like 1980, when he was married to his first wife, he went to go meet her father. And he was one of them bigwigs, like with the KGB, that's kind of like our CIA. And he was very impressed with him. And I know that y'all all the time talking about how dumb he is and making fun of him and stuff. No, that ain't what he thought. And matter of fact, he was so impressed with him that he took him to meet all of his buddies. And they hung out, and they was telling him what a good businessman he was, how smart he was, how good looking he was. I mean, they even told him that, he needed to come back home and run for president. And the guy was like, nah, I never heard about that. And I said, well, I mean, you got the DuckDuckGo, look it up, do some research. And I said, it don't stop there. I said, when he come back, he actually went up to New Hampshire and kind of tested the waters a little bit to run for president, and then wound up going back to New York and running a 4-page ad in the New York Times, just showing the American people what he's learned about world politics, that the United States needed to disband NATO, get out of NATO, because it's just, it's causing harm to the Soviet Union and stuff. And, and the guy was like, yeah, I kind of remember hearing something about that. And I said, well, there's more to it than that. I said, they were so impressed with him that they actually, a bunch of them, moved here and rented almost an entire floor at Trump Tower. I mean, just a floor or two below him, just so they could be around him and absorb some of his knowledge and wisdom. And shoot, they stayed there throughout the 80s and the 90s. And, eventually they even introduced him to some of their big-time wealthy buddies. And they were really impressed with him. As a matter of fact, they helped him get the Atlantic City casinos started. And he said, yeah, I remember that. And then he said, didn't they go bankrupt? And I said, well, I mean, yeah, they did. I said, but that was just something going on. There was some laundromat or something that was set up with the casinos. I don't know what that was about. Something about washing their money or something. But either way, that's bad. But after that, he really couldn't get any money loaned to him from the United States because of his 6 bankruptcies. But if you remember back in 2007, I told him, I said, there was an interview with his son, Eric, where his son was saying that, yeah, a good chunk of their investment and funding comes from Russia. So, you're talking about being connected, knowing Russia, those kind of things. Trump is probably the best. And I said, even 2013, he went to Russia for the Miss Universe pageant. And Putin was so impressed with him that he actually let him stay in the presidential suite, the very same one that President Obama had stayed in. And that's where Trump got the Russian prostitutes to pee on him. And it doesn't get much more well-connected than that. And then I told him, 2016, after he's elected, it's almost as soon as he was elected, just a couple of days, he met with those 2 Russian diplomats in the Oval Office. And how normally presidents are scared to meet with them Russians by themselves, and Trump was not scared. He sent people out of the room so that he didn't look weak and scared. He met with them by himself. That's tough, And then, matter of fact, it wasn't too long after that he actually met with the man himself, Vladimir Putin, by himself. And he didn't need nobody there to hold his hand. He sent him out. And then, after that meeting, he come out and the news and all that trying to accuse Russia of interfering in the 2016 election. And you talking about connected and knowing somebody. Trump looked right at the news and at his own intelligence community, and he said, nah, I know this man so good, there's no way he would have done that. You know, connected, knowing something about a country. And then it was a couple of years, I guess, after that, whenever he met with Putin by himself again, and for a couple hours, actually sent the interpreter away. You know, he didn't need nobody holding his hand there. He's a grown-up, you know. He can handle his business. And then a little while after that, he sent a message to Vladimir Putin by Senator Rand Paul. And, you know, normally people don't use senators as message boys. Not Trump. Because, like I said, he's so well connected. He understands Russia so well. You know, shortly after that's whenever, you know, we did have some CIA agents going missing and a bunch of them coming up dead and stuff. I don't think it had anything to do with that. But anyway, you know, you sit there and tell me that you know, he don't know Russia. I think he knows Russia pretty damn good. And the guy was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I think Trump does know Russia really good. And I said, yep. And that right there, patriots, is how you own the liberals in Make Trump 2024.